Oh, okay, that's a good way to start. I killed a hero. So, it has obviously seen a bit of a resurgence, Battlefront 2, in the last few weeks by, I think, the success of Andor Season 2. I think that has seen players wanting to get back to, this very fun FPS multiplayer and just to, again, experience some of the nostalgia, I think, which is kind of crazy to think about when this game came out in 2017, and it feels like it was, just yesterday, really. This game came out around the time of The Last Jedi, and clearly players have really enjoyed being back into it, so much so that they've been calling for a new Battlefront, which, again, has been kind of on the agenda for a lot of people over the last few years. People obviously have enjoyed the game, and they have wanted to, experience it in a new form. And I'm here to argue the point as to why EA specifically should not be the ones to make Battlefront free. I definitely feel like Battlefront 3 could be done. However, it should not be done by EA. And there is a number of reasons for that. Because again, I feel like people are looking at this game through rose-tinted spectacles and forgetting a lot of the controversies that this game, encountered when it first came out and since. Now, I appreciate that certainly a few people would not have been playing this game when it first released. Again, it has been 7-8 years. However, for those of you who did play this game way back when, you'll remember the controversy around content being locked behind paywalls. You'll remember controversies around the reactions by mods on the subreddit. This is not me saying that there shouldn't be a Battlefront 3. This is me saying that Battlefront 3 should not be done by EA for a number of reasons. I've never liked EA's business practices. I've never been a huge fan of, their games in general. Their big kind of money spinners have always been like FIFA, Battlefield. Star Wars Battlefront is essentially Battlefield dressed up in a Star Wars skin. That's what it is. And I thought he wasn't going to die for a second. And don't get me wrong, it's an absolutely gorgeous game. I think this game looks fantastic. The feel of it is great. You definitely feel like you're a part of the Star Wars universe at times. And I'll admit up front, I've never been fantastic at the game. I've always been kind of okay at it. Whereas in other FPSs, I'm actually pretty decent, not to blow my own horn. So some people might be thinking, oh, well, Simon, this is just because you don't really enjoy the game. You're not very good at it. And it's like, no, you know what? I don't mind not being great at a game. I will, if the game feels fun, win-losses don't matter to me. Kill-death ratios don't really matter to me. If I'm having fun, then that's all that matters. Oh my goodness, that was a close one. And again, that's the fun chaos that I like of this kind of game style. But EA have some terrible business practices, and I think people are forgetting that. So when we're calling for EA to make Battlefront 3, I think this is a mistake. And again, I think there are so many other game studios that could make this game so much better. I think there are plenty of game studios, and we've seen it with other Star Wars games, we've seen it with other FPSs, that EA aren't the only studio in town. This is another thing that annoys me, is the unavailability of heroes at most points in the game. I want to play a hero, I've earned my points, let me play a goddamn hero. Ooh, hello. Why won't you die? There you go. I killed you in the end. So EA, obviously, when this game first came out, there was huge controversies around loot crates. And it even went to court, I believe, in Europe. To the point where, they were deemed not legal. And so, whilst they aren't, part of the game anymore, they were a big part of the game when it first came out. To the point where you had a lot of content locked behind paywalls. Well, not necessarily paywalls, but grind walls. I mean, you could say paywalls if you consider the fact that the loot crates were used to try and unlock heroes. And that was the big thing, is that a lot of the basic heroes like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, they were locked behind these huge sort of grind walls where you had to play for up to 40 hours just to unlock one, hero. 40 hours to unlock one hero. That is insane. And in reaction to this, again, I think people forget that the community mods reacted very, very poorly. There was an infamous post on Reddit where they were talking about how you should be proud of, being able to unlock a character after 40 hours. There should be a sense of pride and accomplishment that you are able to unlock Darth Vader in the time it takes to complete 2, AAA first-player campaigns. So that was, one of the original controversies. There was the controversy around really a lack of content when it first came out. And again, if you go back and look at the original kind of game reviews that were out when this game was released, they were all very average. Very average. Now, 7 years later, yes, we do have a lot of content for this game. We do have a lot of, players now at least playing it, but that's not always been the case, and I don't think that's going to be the case in a few months' time, because again, people are playing right now out of nostalgia. They're playing right now because, oh, I remember this, it was so much fun. Star Wars has just finished with Andor, I want to get back into it, but realistically, Battlefront 2 isn't a long-term success for, the multiplayer. I mean, the single player is awful. I absolutely despise the single player campaign because it went down the cliche routes that we find ourselves facing so often. I was really excited when the first player campaign, single player campaign I should say, was announced. We got a trailer and it looked as though we were going to get to play as a member of the Imperials during the Battle of Endor, and I thought, you know what? At first, I thought that person was cheating with speed hacks. Then I was about to say, okay, yep, you can tell we're on PC here, but it was just Yoda. I suppose I could always zoom in, can't I? But I'm a heavy. It feels like heavies don't zoom in; they just hip fire. And so, yeah, we got this trailer. It looked as though we were going to get to play the bad guys, and within literally 2 free missions, the bad guy has, turned to the rebellion, and I was so disappointed. I was so upset that they weren't letting us play as a member of the Empire, at least, for a decent duration. And I kind of lost all interest after that in the single-player campaign. And again, having played through it and the DLC, it's nothing special. It really isn't. And I get that people are going to say, well, this game, you don't play it for the single player. But why not? Why shouldn't a Battlefront game have a decent single player? The originals did. I mean, Battlefront 1 in 2015 didn't even have a single player campaign. And it was only, I think, on the backlash of that they included one. And so I say, we should have the opportunity to play a single-player game. A single-player campaign in a game like this. Look at that guy just standing right behind a hill. He's just camping with his. Let's try a Y-wing. Let's see how well this goes. Okay, you know what? Well, we defeated someone there. Sorry, I tend... This is why I don't play vehicles, because I tend to go quiet when... Oh, I crashed. I tend to go quiet when I'm concentrating, which isn't productive for a video talking. Oh, Luke's available. Let's go get Luke. Okay, here we go. I haven't played Luke in ages, so I may not necessarily do any good here. But, yeah, as I was mentioning, the single-player campaign was a disappointment. The multiplayer campaign... Okay. Okay, so this is why I, need to get used to his abilities again. That Y-Wing just crashed straight into the ground. There we go. Come on. Death Trooper. Let's kill the Death Trooper. Sorry, this has turned more into a gameplay than a topic of discussion, isn't it? And I'm dead. Well, that was fun while it lasted, but again, that shows you why, firstly, I've not played this game in a long time, and also, I'm not the best. So, the multiplayer is fine, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. I think it does get a little boring after a while, though. I think once you've played a couple of games, unless you really do appreciate the different game modes, but a lot of them are dead right now. And again, it's kind of like, yeah, right now there's a lot of players playing, but I think it's just from that nostalgia hit. I think in a little while, this is going to, wear off. And before we know it, we'll be back to square one where there's not that many people playing. And that is ultimately the issue with EA. And, this game is that it's not viable long term. It's not financially viable. Because whilst, yes, there's a lot of players playing right now, it doesn't earn the company any money. Well, Luke was available again. Let's do it. Let's do it. I know a bit more now about what his abilities do. And like I say, I just think there are so many more companies out there that could do a better job. So I don't think we need Battlefront 3 from EA. I think we need Battlefront 3 from a new company. Fresh perspective, try something different. We're always going to have Battlefront and Battlefront 2, although saying that, I know that EA could easily pull the plug at any point. There you go. Okay, now I'm getting it. So yeah, that's really my point here, is that I think we should be, vying for a Battlefront 3, but we should be vying for one made by a different company. Okay, you're dead. Oh, they're trying to hit me with rockets, which is naughty. Okay, that's a ATST. I don't want to be dealing with that. I like at least the heroes in this one, at least. Yeah, I can't fight an ATST, and I finally got him to move. That was the thing. So, yeah, really, that's the be-all and end-all of it. I like Battlefront 2 as a game. It's not brilliant in my mind. I don't praise it like it's the best thing ever, like some do. I realise its limitations. I think people, again, forget EA's business models and their handling of, certain... oh, that's a grenade. EA's, handling of new games is not fantastic. Let's see if I can... Oh, this is a slower. Where are the people to shoot? There we go. I'll take that. Let's exit. I got my one kill. That's all I wanted. And so, if we are going to get a new game, I want it to be of a different company. Someone who is, more than capable of making a single-player campaign that I'm going to enjoy. A multiplayer campaign that isn't going to lock things originally behind paywalls. Or have shady business practices. I know that's asking a lot, because there's not a lot of companies out there now that do not have shady business practices. But it's also got to be cost effective. And I'm not sure that, a game like this, and that's probably why it hasn't been made. In fact, I think there was a memo leaked recently from, gosh darn it, from, an insider at EA, that they weren't going to do it because it's just not cost effective. And there we have it. So, I don't think we are going to get a Battlefront 3. I don't think that we should be getting a Battlefront 3 from EA. I think there are better companies out there to do it. And if we're going to do it properly. Give us a proper, single-player campaign. Don't put anything behind paywalls. Don't agitate the community and tell them that they should be happy to grind to unlock the basics. And no doubt it'll be an overpriced, game as well. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. hopefully you've enjoyed this messy video. Again, always difficult trying to play games whilst talking, which is why probably I don't stream too much, but let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next one.